All right. Good evening, everybody. At the moment, my name is Tiina Naskali from Finland and JCI Finland, and you are about to follow the first e-academy of JCI European Development Council. Welcome. This e-academy consists of tips, hints, and knowledge on PR and marketing and its value for your organizations, how to make your organizations rock. We are getting a good amount of viewers. I'm at the moment still technically waiting that we get also our trainer, Derek Reilly, online. So we are having Derek. Hi. There seems to be a bit of echo in the broadcast. There seems to be a bit of delay in the talk. Don't get disturbed by it. That's why I was quiet for a while. There is a YouTube link which has been given in a JCI in Europe Facebook group book as well as on the Hangout page, which was earlier linked. And like said, now I'm currently just checking that we would get our trainer online. There are some technical matters. So we try again. Derek Reilly has been working for JCI Ireland for quite some time. Also worked as a national president. And he has been actually last year worked also for the European Development Council and has been trading a lot, also internationally. So the inspiration, what you are able to get from Derek is something certain that I count on because I have been inspired by him in the trainings earlier. The YouTube website, I checked it and it was functional. You are able to comment. There is a question answer application in the Hangout service, and there's also the Hangout a link page where you are able to give comments and questions. And questions will be taken throughout the training. And we only have one little issue. Trainer getting in. Regarding PR and marketing, why this as the first topic for the training? Because the fact is that at work life, we quite a lot think about these matters, what kind of brand we perhaps have for our employer, how do we brand ourselves as workers, and also the project that we work on. And I see, hello, there's, for example, JCI Iceland branded themselves and Serbia, Bulgaria, just by noting their names. And that's one of the things. But what else can you do? How should you plan the marketing? How should you plan how you communicate of what you do, what kind of activities you have, and what kind of target groups should you include in the plans. Now I have to apologize that we have some technical matter regarding our trainer Derek to get here online for some reason. So still doing my best to get him here. But let's see who we have. We have JCI Iceland. We have Serbia, Moldova, Bulgaria. We have Brussels. Hi, everybody. Finland. How do we use the webcam? Please note that you are able to follow from the YouTube linkage as well. That you find, for example, in the Hangout webpage, or as said from JCI in Europe Facebook group, and also JCI European Development Council Facebook group as well. Regarding the webcam, I also had my camera functioning when we started, but it seems that now it dropped off for a while. So you might be just hearing my voice and not actually seeing me. Basically, the webcam should be automatical in the system for those who are able to be in this Hangout. One general thing is that Malta is here too. I see Estonia as well. Great to have all you here. Now we'll just get the actual trainer for you. We did a little tryout before you joined us, and things were functioning well. So this is one of the challenges of marketing, especially, and communication, the technology. And what to do? Basically, I do have the slides. I wouldn't like to stop the broadcast and start a new one when you are already here. So we are trying to have a solution. Please hang out for a while. We see what to do for the challenge. We have gotten communication earlier from different countries regarding the fact that it's actually hard to get themselves through, for example, for local media, for partners. And those are the matters that really influence for the fact how well you can do with the process, how you can motivate the ones who are working with them, and how you are able to reach also new target groups and potential members. And that is also the reason for this topic. We will have now a few minutes technical break in order to see how Derek Reilly can get himself online for this system, and then we will continue. And meanwhile, if you have some questions regarding the topic, PR and communication, you can post here on the questions and answers side which you have, because those can be then taken up. Any questions regarding the topic? Anything special that has come up, for example, in your local chapter regarding the project you have done, or if you have done new strategies for your local chapters, how to reach, for example, potential members, but you are still, either you have success stories or that you have started to wonder what might be functional or why something perhaps hasn't functioned as you have planned. And was that then something that was expected or unexpected for that specific project? All right. Now the situation seems so that we are having a good amount of viewers here. Can you hear me properly? For some reason you cannot see me. Let's see. Do I get any comments here? Hello? Yes. I see more people to join us. The situation is that we have a change in plan, as if we now don't get Derek Reilly, who was supposed to hold this, if we don't get him properly online, I will basically, okay, you can see me, perfect, and hear me as well. I will start so that I will go through Derek's presentation instead of him. Apology for the inconvenience that you are not able to see Derek here. Techniques is, as I mentioned, sometimes something that we cannot live with, but we either can live without. Yeah, there was also one big question. What is the goal? Let's see, what is the goal objective for JCI headquarters on PR marketing for 2016? Okay, that is a big question. Yeah. Next, what I will do is that I will try to share you the screen, what I have. And you should be able to see the slides, which I'm about to show you. And now, let's see. You should start to see the slides and be able to follow the content from the slides. Are you able to follow? Yeah. Sorry for the technical break. Because one of the things is to understand what kind of plans can work within the JCI regarding public relations and marketing. And then again, what kind of skills you actually you can gain upon compiling this kind of plan and how to execute uh, either a marketing plan or a PR plan within your organization. We will go through shortly what is the difference between PR and marketing, how they are to be used, and there will be also a case regarding the JCI Ireland and certain practices that they have been succeeded in the past. And first of all, when we consider two main points, what actually is public relations, what it means, and what is marketing. There's one crucial matter that when we talk about communication, communication can be found in both of these because communication is, of course, in between people, but also in between organizations. And it can be done deliberately. And communication is also something that we do unintentionally, even among us. Public relations, as such, when we consider that, it is basically the way that persons, organizations like JCI, commercial companies, how it's communicated in public and media. And media here has a very wide spectrum. So let's not only think about social media and, for example, broadcasting. The medias are also within the companies as well. There may be intranets, for example, what I used also for public relations, from unit to unit. A PR specialist, then again, is the one who communicates with the target audience either directly or indirectly through media. And there is an aim to create and maintain this positive image, the positive image of a company, a positive image of a local chapter, and they are trying to have a catch in their communication in order to engage and motivate as well. So, for example, from JCI perspective, how to engage interested potential new members or partners. But then again, if you think, okay, if that is PR, how do we actually then say that marketing is different from it? The marketing goes for the actual product more and the value. So in JCI, we talk about more PR, we can consider with stakeholder groups, how to get cooperation. And then again, when we start to market, that might be marketing a project. Marketing, for example, a competition. A good example might be within a JCI, for example, a debating championship that you would like to engage also other stakeholders. But that is a product. It normally has an beginning and end, also as a tool. So then again with PR, it may be branding, something that is ongoing without an ending point as such. But it doesn't mean that either of these shouldn't be followed. monitoring and evaluation and follow-up is for both, but we go for that a bit later. Here is kind of short introduction that what are actually the differences. The cost might be different. When you think about marketing, you can do it with also rather inexpensive tools. Social media just as one of it. You may have logo magazines. You may have other kind of channels, newsletters that you go with the marketing. Then again, when you are actually having a PR, normally the PR relations demand quite a lot when you want to make a profound impact, and the cost level might be also different. About the content, already in the definition, there was some insights to it. So with marketing, you are focusing more. And then again, with the PR, it's kind of an overall topic. For example, how do you do a PR for a company? It includes all the parts. It actually doesn't anymore include only communication, but even, for example, the work efficiency and the work that is done, and then products and the feedbacks what come from them. So it's an overall process. For marketing, yes, there's also financial investment. It may be also advertising space you want to have. You might want to do a campaign. In JCI, for example, recruiting campaigns are something that are done both in local level, but also on national level. And depending what kind of deals you might be doing there, it may be very cost efficiency, or then of course it may be a bigger investment that you have to gather money for in order to gain the results in a few years. But even though they are cost-free resources as well, marketing would not be thought that it can be done in a zero-sum base, because then we would go wrong if we start thinking about that. Then again, when we think, I mentioned that here might be cost, but it might be also cost-free if you do it correctly. This is the case that when you actually have done a good job, you have gotten a certain type of image on how things are functioning, then actually it might have that kind of influence that you are known. It is known that your product, whether it's a project, whether it's a competition, it might be a chapter as it is, and its members, how they function, when they have positive impact from times, then actually the platforms start to emerge based on the earlier performance, different kind of stakeholders, and then that brings cost efficient and also cost-free possibilities for your use. And blogs are one good example of how to network. Of course, there are also dangers, because it's good to remember that blogs are subjective. But if you are actually interested in using this kind of webs of individuals who are able to spread the message and also spread your image, what you want to bring out through blogs, is something worth thinking. But of course, that will need also follow-up, as there is always the risk of subjectivity. But when we think about just a call. You cannot really say that either one can be done without cost and the other one can be done only with big money. As I have mentioned, it goes both ways. Basically, the more you do, the better you do, the more opportunities you might PR and marketing. In many cases, they are working kind of as a team. Have also their own purposes. PR relationships, as I have mentioned, the stakeholder relationships, whether it's a partner, whether it's other work, community, government, that is relationship. Then again, you are actually trying to trigger the interest of the target. Who can be a community member who you want to be included in some of your projects, or when you think about the marketing could be called as a spin, finding to package products overseas so that the audience get triggered and interested and motivated as well. This goes also from that perspective that when you have in local chapter, you have existing members, don't forget that they are also your target group. To rethink about the marketing, that it's not only outside, it's also something to think how to market, for example, your activities and what you do inside the chapter or inside the national organization. Because very often we start to think only outside, towards outside, when we talk about marketing. Otherwise, we talk about communication in general. But it's really engaging people needs efforts. And it does also need resources, even from financial point of view. Then again, PR, public relations. You could call it more traditional. You could call that, you can use for that one, for example, different kind of press different kind of news stories in order to bring out yourself, your alum, local organization, or even your national organization. For marketing, the content itself is the key. But then again, the content is not all for the PR. Because for the PR, it's more image. It's actually giving an idea for the viewer or listener or a reader. So the recipient kind of him or herself basically builds up the big picture based on what you communicate and what you bring out through this PR. That's why, for example, many companies are using different kind of PR specialists in order to build up the bigger pictures and brand, for example. Because it's easier to market when you have something rather limited, but actually to see the whole picture and work for it constantly, it's way more challenging and it needs more planning. Then when you think from the perspective of how these two can and should be controlled, the marketing, the PR, they have, they kind of get a different kind of control level for the companies. When you are thinking about materials regarding products, whether it's of, for example, training, which is a product like a car, or, for example, like some sort of community project, you are doing promotional materials, and you are able to define it rather much yourself. You might be using help, you might be using second opinion. However, you do content in general yourself based on the project or product you have. Then again, the PR is not only purely in your hand anymore. When you put those press releases out, it depends how they are interpreted, how they are caught, that what kind of picture it actually gives for you, or does it give any kind of picture. Sometimes it might be frustrating to understand that it actually puts a lot of effort in order to get that kind of space, especially in this kind of voluntary activity as we have in JCI, because you give the power for media, you give the control for your partners who you are considering that they would lift up the things you do jointly. And sometimes, of course, there might be also errors coming, because when you're in control, you are able to fix the errors rather fast, at least, if you see something. However, when you put the message out and you see errors, might be very challenging, if sometimes not even impossible. But you shouldn't be scared. You cannot be scared of the fact to give the power away from your hands. Because if you are scared, you cannot succeed. You have to try, but the main point is that you plan. If you don't plan and if one does the follow-up, you are going to face it perhaps too late. What has been said, for example, from your project or your, for example, events you have thought that has been successful and giving a positive impact, and in the end, the message has been quite the opposite. Sometimes it might be surprising you positively as well. When you invite, for example, media to your events, you are not sure, are they interested, and they actually find something very intriguing, very motivating from what you have and what you have offered. They are able to brand you and lift up your picture in the eyes of the audience more than you could ever imagine. So it goes both ways. So be brave in giving some of the power away from your hands, even in JCI. The lines between the marketing and PR, then again, they are rather blur, especially these days. I already mentioned the blogs. Social media as such is one of the blurry areas as well. And the challenge, like where goes the line and who is in control of all kinds of communication, what exists? Who actually is promoting? Does it go for defending and debating instead of actually marketing and promoting? So the bad exists, but that's how it is. We have to live with it. And the best way is learning how to use it the best. There is actually a marketing grad, Jake Reilly, who has written that companies are using their Twitter streams and Facebook pages to both market themselves and carefully craft consumer perceptions. While press releases and marketing campaigns still show the differences between the two subjects, the new shiny mediums are blending the two together, complementing each other and making businesses more efficient and effective. It is good to remember that you are able to regulate even the most challenging platforms. But for that, you will need resources. For example, having a control over Facebook group, having someone to follow, and perhaps even start conversations for the way that you would like the conversation to go for. Regarding an event, you would like to have active discussion from a current situation in society. So you put someone someone to open up the discussion and manage it if it doesn't come natural. So there to engage your own people and also to start activating the other. Then again, when you think from JCI perspective, if you think about which to choose, and should you actually make the choice between PR and marketing, and what would it mean? Is it too distant to think that we don't really do PR? I mean, we don't have capacity for that. Oh no, well, marketing is kind of just basic newsletters. It's just like communication, what we already have. And what's the importance? It really goes from your own perspective. You have to discuss in a local chapter. You need to discuss with your chapter, with your board, with the project group, and see what you are heading to, what you are there trying to gain. If you are doing 100 people in a community, you have to start just listing who are your target group, what kind of impact you want to make, how long is the impact period you want to reach. Is it just something that needs to be engaged for 1 day or 1 week, or do you want to see the results also after 1 year of what you have done, and perhaps repeat the project or event you have done? And how much power you actually want to give and are ready to give for the others. That's one of the things. Where goes the line that you want to keep the strings with yourself, and how much courage do you have as a chapter, or for example as a project team, to take, for example, bloggers, put a bit more challenging press releases, which give kind of an open floor for the media to choose what they write about. And the thing is that, do you want to boost your organization's image to the public, or are you actually heading just in order to get your product to succeed in the markets, to succeed so that you get a certain amount of audience for it? Because you need to understand these goals, because you understand them, the better you actually know what kind of tools you would need. So here basically was at the moment was a little insight for the PR and marketing as such. And at the moment I'm checking, do we actually see questions from our part. There was a question regarding the PR and marketing from the JCI headquarters point of view. For that one, I don't have any clear answer as such. Basically, it's good to remember that they do have different kind of materials in the PR and marketing guidelines as what comes to JCI. And when we are in an organization, which is this global, we need to remember that when we, for example, put out newsletters, we put out internet pages, Facebook groups, that naturally there are certain rules that we are expected to follow in order to have a common image of the organization. And that is what we are all working for. It takes, in some places, a longer time and shorter time, depending also, for example, on the content of our activities we do. How easy it's to reach, for example, a certain type of public image for the organization. And, for example, what kind of stakeholders do we have? Organizations like International Center of Commerce? Do we have ISEC? Do we have business angels around us? So whom we can actually work with? Those are basically questions that effect on the fact how we actually are able to the image we have, and how we are able to also help our local grow and to develop and get their stand in the area. In certain areas, also it comes by age. So if the organization has been working for decades already, they have that good network perhaps that is already making the promotion based on those earlier research results, what I earlier mentioned about. Would we have any other questions regarding PR and communication as such? At the moment, I do not see any question topics here on our question site. So I think we'll go further. Please mark there if you have questions, notions regarding any of the points which I'm going to. Okay. So when you have an idea of the goal and the aim to, what you are actually doing, the first thing is that you need to know, what am I doing? What we are doing as a group? Are we really doing wanting to make an impact? Are we doing something perhaps in one occasion for our own members? And that is what we are concentrating on. Do we want to have more cooperation with stakeholders? Do we want to have new members? You remember that you should focus. Focus is one of the key points. So you shouldn't try to get everything possible, because you might end up having almost none of that all. You just have little glimpses and little pieces of everything, but nothing fully. So try to make the focus on your aims. And the next best thing to doing the right thing is telling people you're doing the right thing. Communication as a key. In JCI, when we talk about that challenges of the community, for example, and the other organizations to know about JCI, what it is, that comes from the fact that we have to look in the mirror and to check, have we actually communicated? Have we marketed the good things we are doing? Have we been proud enough of ourselves and our activities so that we have actually used the tools which have been available? Have we been more kind of taken for granted in a way that we have our own channels that we use? We don't really put an effort. We don't put the resources because it has functioned before. Remember, communicate the right things you are doing. And then again, if you don't try, you cannot learn anything. So if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail, as Benjamin Franklin has said. If we go shortly to how you can make a strategy for your PR and marketing. The goals was the key number one. Then to know is the environment you are working with, what kind of competitors, competing projects, competing products you might have. How are the target groups? Do you have them easily accessible? How to get the information to reach them? So researching is something that at work life we do quite constantly, but then again, easily when we are in organizations, we work also partly for ourselves and enjoying what we are doing. The research part, it's not really so media sexy when you think about engaging people for the background research, but it's very important and very crucial because that helps with the next phase of planning what to do, planning who is doing, when is doing, and what. And you need to already at that point also plan how you are going to measure the reached goals, how you are measuring how you have succeeded or what went wrong. You need to be able to see both ways. Not everything goes always smoothly. That's life. And that's reality. But when you have planned how to proceed, you are also able to make efforts to change the direction if needed. And then you just do it. This year in Trinidad Chamber International, we have the year of Just Act. That is the key motto of our world president at this Pascal Duque at the moment. Just act. And after you have done the background research, you have done the planning, you just act. You act with your group, you act as a chapter, and you do it. Just do it. And when you are doing, you do constantly monitoring and measuring and evaluation for your work and for your strategy. Then if something goes badly wrong, you have to stop for a while. You have to have a crisis management. You have to solve it. But when you have planned it properly, you know how to solve it. One thing is also that if you, for example, reach your goals already at earlier stage that you were thinking, reach new goals and just and add your work. So if you are having a goal of reaching 50 companies for a project, you already reached 50. Don't stop. Just go forward. Just set a new goal and see why this would be a good thing, what can gain more if we go forward. And don't forget to evaluate then in the end. I mentioned that kind of PR and kind of image building is something that doesn't have a pure beginning and end, but you need to evaluate it in certain time rounds. And then again, when we think about projects and this type of more focused marketing, then of course it's easier to set the times when you do the evaluation and basically see what's next. Because I mean, don't have a clear focus and clear mindset what we are doing, we can really just run up and down and not really score anything. We don't see when we actually win or lose. We are just doing something. In a team, everybody probably are doing their own things and not working as a team. Very good kind of examples of common goals are, for example, increasing brand awareness. For JCI, it would mean that you would like to know, show what is JCI Iceland, what is JCI Moldova, how is different from other organizations, what it can give. Then also a good goal is learn more about the target audience. So for example, potential members. Okay, I want to know more. How are the 25-year-olds in JCI Bulgaria or JCI Serbia area, how vast is the area that we can work on geographically? Do we have chapters in such areas that are most potential? Should we do something for it if we don't have chapters in those areas? And then you can, a very good thing and also very motivating thing is if you have good measurable goals. For example, if you have leads for partners, how number of members you can get. There's a concept of SMART that many probably have heard about. And the SMART was for the goals especially. It was for specific, meaning focused, measurable, is really a motivating as well, attainable, realistic, and time bound. It's really good to remember that the realism is there. Because if you have very unrealistic, either too low or too high goals, the motivation is challenging. If they're too low, you feel that, are we really putting our effort on this? And then again, you don't see the whole potential of the ones who are working with, for example, with the project. Then again, if you set them too high, everybody are just like easily coming frustrated when it seems that the goals get further and further away. It seems unreachable. So you should have this kind of realistic, but still kind of a bit challenging goals, so that you actually, when you gain it, you are able to celebrate it and actually feel that, yes, we did it. We acted and we did it. We gained something. So it wasn't too easy to reach. The comfort zone is the one that we many times are in, but it's very, very important to also put ourselves from outside of the comfort zone in order to see the potential. And let's not forget the fact that in these kind of strategies also, it might be also the fellow organizations, your existing partners, or networks, which might be helping with you all this. Then again, the competitor is the word that we many times use as the negative matter. We are competing with different actors. Many have in their local societies, for example, Rotaries, Lions, student organizations, political organizations. Let's not see them as competitors. Let's see them as resource, and as we are a resource for them. Just let's understand how to differentiate ourselves so that we can say how we differ. From the other organizations. Meanwhile, I'm checking. I will have a little pause here because I'm checking the questions, because I get a message that there are some questions, but I don't have a pure question right now, which I can see. Just a second. Because this is a topic which is very close to the basics of JCI and local level and what we are doing. So I would be glad if I get some hands-on questions. No, obviously it does not give the questions at the moment. So Victor, as you have direct access to my other tool, you might be shooting me the questions, what you have noted and which you see as central. Because for some reason, it doesn't show the question as such over here. It only shows the questions what were given in the beginning. So Victor, if you're here, just shoot through the other tool. So I will answer. Because there's also the chance to use the Google Hangout areas question answer tool. Okay, there's one question regarding, is there any possibility to headquarters to support the PR and marketing activities for the national and local organizations? I see the government collaboration program as some help on this matter, but are there any other tools regarding this? Regarding PR and marketing activities, one of the key factors I would bring out for, especially now national organizations, I would remind of European Development Council that we are there to share best practices of both local and national organizations in between the countries. And that is one of our main focuses this year, 2016, to help out to build that kind of better communication. Really focusing on matters, for example, how to get new members, how to get members motivated and active. So heading for the PR and marketing. Then again, if we think about branding, I would say that do not forget that there are also example countries. For example, JCI UK has given this kind of marketing academy. So there are both local and national level who are giving very good trainings and many trainings also in English regarding marketing and also brand building. And those are opportunities. Naturally, not everybody are able to travel for certain countries, but this is also something worth considering, that could that be followed online, and what kind of online trainings as such would be desired. The tips are more than welcome, because I would say that when you do it actively and when you are able to have it as a group session, or then if you are able to participate with, for example, your local board for a workshop type event in a national meeting or in a regional meeting on branding and marketing, because that is something that can be done, for example, from Europe in European conference. And then, of course, other geographical areas have their own regional conferences. Those are the ones where you learn the best, when you actually have hands-on. There are materials, as mentioned, available, but naturally they are not all for very focused branding. Yeah. Then there are also from JCI Iceland that how we can involve and reach qualitative members in organizations through social media. Yeah. With social media, please to keep in mind that you need to make those goals. Who are the ones that you are actually targeting for? You need to know the demography of your target group. You think about new members. Do you want them to be active? Do you want them to be innovative? Do you have a certain age range you are focusing on? And then the collaboration with the other organizations. Just shooting messages through social media might actually not gain you the persons you were looking for, but they might actually give to your lab a huge amount of people who perhaps are not that motivated. They don't stay for long because they just found something interesting they want to try out, but they were not so engaged. They just saw something interesting while they were having a moment that they wanted to find new opening, let's say like this. So networking is one of the things, and still the personal contact should be there when you are talking about something as uh, as personal as members and active members for the future. All right. There has been now a situation that there has been one question if we could open a new call. I can do that and try. We can stop here for a while. We were basically going to the goal setting and planning phase, the research phase to the planning, how to actually plan strategies. What I will do, that if this is something that would like to, we tried to have another call in the beginning, but it didn't function for some technical reasons. Even though our tryout before this actual e-academy session functioned okay. But if you do feel that we would stop at the moment here and we would try to open another call and then we continue with the topic forward, then that's what we are going to do. And right now the systems seems there, we don't get any direct comments on this. So most probably there are also some communication issues with the participants, that not everybody are able to get their messages through properly so that I could see them. So what we can do is that, yes, we open a new call in order to get forward and get then also for the case study of JCI Ireland. But what I need to do is I basically stop the broadcast now, and then we'll do a new one, and we will link it for the Hangout page. We will link it for the Facebook page so that you are able to join it. Any comments on this? All right. Yeah. Now I got the comment. All right. I will do so that I will stop this broadcast. We will link you for the Hangout page and for the Facebook page. And let's try so that Derek actually opens the call, because obviously there was something with him joining a call that didn't function properly. Thank you for so much.